All right, let's jump right into this explainer. You know, most players completely ignore the chat layer until they desperately need it. And then, well, they really need it. I'm your host, and today we're breaking down the modernized chat layer of the Immortal Realm shard. Joining me to help unpack the whole shebang is my co-host.
Hey everyone, I've got to admit, I'm pretty new to how all these underlying systems actually work, so I am bringing a lot of questions to the table today.
Which is exactly what we want. We're going to map out everything you need to know, from whispers and reply tracking to custom channels and zone auto-joins. Let's get into it.
So let me start with a quick confession here. I've basically just been relying on public speech for everything. And honestly, I have to ask, isn't stock UO chat just kind of clunky and noisy? It always feels like you're just shouting into a crowded room hoping someone actually hears you. Okay, let's dive into this because you are definitely not alone in feeling that way. The original Ultima Online chat layer is absolutely showing its age. But if you're just relying on public speech, you are missing out on an entirely modern communication system running right beneath the surface. It's a completely different experience once you actually know the tools are there.
To really anchor this explainer, you need to understand that Immortal Realm addresses those old constraints with 3 massive quality-of-life upgrades. These literally make the whole system feel current. We're looking at whisper reply tracking, a persistent mute list, and zone-aware auto-join.
Man, those sound like they solve exactly the headaches I've been running into.
They absolutely do. These 3 features smooth out the friction so well that the rest of the game's social systems can seamlessly build on top of it. Let's start with the foundational layer, whispers. This is your direct one-to-one private messaging. You simply use the bracket prefix, so you type bracket tell or just bracket W, the person's name, and then your message.
Okay, so it's a standard direct message. But does it just get lost in the sea of public text scrolling by?
Not at all. The system broadcasts it as distinct, colored text directly in your regular speech window, so it stands out beautifully. But here is a crucial detail to remember. These messages are not buffered offline. If the recipient isn't online, or if they log out, the whisper isn't stored for them to read later. Okay, but if we're having a rapid back-and-forth conversation, do I really have to type bracket tell and your full name every single time I want to say something? Because that sounds exhausting. Nope. And this is a real game changer. The system actually records who whispered you last. So to reply, you literally just type bracket R and your message.
Whoa. Seriously?
The game just remembers? Yes. It instantly sends your next message back to that person without you having to retype their name. It completely removes the constant friction of typing out long character names during a conversation.
Now, let's move to how this builds into broader networks, starting with the friends list. You have a hard cap of 50 friends per character on your list. You manage it using the bracket friend, bracket unfriend, or bracket friends commands. Got it. Now, does the other person have to accept my friend request? Like a mutual confirmation? Mutual confirmation isn't required, but, and you really need to keep this in mind, adding someone is a soft public action. The system specifically notifies the target, telling them that you added them. So it's not some silent following tool. It's an active social handshake.
So if I have all these friends added, does the friends list act like a private guild chat? I'm so glad you asked that because it's a super common misconception. The friends list is purely an informal, personal contact list. There is absolutely no friends-only chat scope. The list simply lets you check their online and offline status.
Ah, okay. So it's literally just a contact book. Exactly. A guild, on the other hand, is a formal civic structure with ranks, a hall, a treasury, and its own dedicated chat. Plus, remember that the friends list is per character, not per account. If you have a Char Giant character and a Velvet Hand character, they will probably have totally different personal networks.
Now, let's transition from making friends to protecting your peace of mind. You actually have a persistent mute list with a cap of 100 mutes per character. Let me guess, managed with a bracket mute command? You nailed it. You manage it with bracket mute, bracket unmute, and the plural bracket mutes command to see your whole list. And unlike the old days of stock UO, this mute list is stored as an account tag keyed to your character. That means it actually survives logouts and even full server restarts.
So if I mute someone who is being annoying, do they know? Do they get some big red error message saying I've blocked them? That is the beauty of it. No, they don't. This system is purely defensive and completely asymmetric by design. Muting someone silently drops their messages across 3 specific scopes: whispers, custom channels, and guild chat. The muted player is never notified. It's just nice and quiet on your end. So we've covered one-on-one and global blocking. Let's look at small group coordination. Enter custom channels. These are opt-in, name-keyed coordination channels. You join and send messages using bracket ch, followed by the channel name, or even just the longest prefix of it if you want a shortcut, and your message. And this shows up right in the game window too, right? Yes, it broadcasts as beautifully colored game text right in your regular speech window. It's the absolute perfect niche between a formal guild chat and public shouting. Think about a duo running expeditions or a few crafters coordinating a trade deal. They don't need a guild, they just need a custom channel.
But what about security? If I spin up a player-kind channel for my expedition, how do I stop random people from joining and eavesdropping? Is there a password system? Here is the crazy part. There is no password, no description, no owner.
Wait, no way. Really?
Really? The implicitly private channel name is the gate. The system is intentionally simple. You just pick a channel name your friends know, but the public doesn't. If you know the name, you can join. And unless it's flagged as permanent, the channel just cleans itself up and disappears once it's empty.
Okay, picking my own channel names is cool, but are there channels I don't have to manually type commands to join? Absolutely. The game uses what are called system-kind channels that are managed for you automatically based on context. You have the server-wide world channel that everyone joins right on login. You have your guild channel if you're in one. You have zone channels for specific geographic areas, and order channels if you belong to groups like the Churgeons or High Ledger.
The really crucial point regarding these automated channels is how smooth the zone auto-join is. For example, walk into Britain Bank, and boom, you are instantly placed in Zone Britain.
It just detects where I am? That's awesome.
Exactly. Major cities like Trinsic or Moonglow and named dungeons like Covetous or Doom automatically trigger these joins. Just keep in mind that subregions inside those areas don't get their own microzones. It strictly follows a specific whitelist of major areas. If you wander out of a whitelisted zone, it won't switch.
All right, let's take a breath and synthesize all of this. The chat architecture isn't just one flat channel. It's a stack of 7 layers. Let's bounce through them quickly.
All right, starting at the bottom, we have good old public speech.
Then zone channels, automatically joined based on your location.
The world channel connecting the whole server.
Custom channels for your specific groups and friends.
Guild chat for your formal civic structures.
Order channels for your allegiances.
And whispers at the very top for direct messaging.
Perfect. And remember, that powerful mute list we talked about forcefully applies across this entire stack to keep your experience exactly how you want it.
Honestly, 7 layers sounds like a lot to keep track of with just text commands. I can see myself getting lost. And that is exactly why this next feature exists. You literally just type ~chat in the game, and it opens up the Chat Gump interface. It's a clean, visual menu with 4 tabs: Send, Channels, Friends, and Mutes. So instead of memorizing everything, this entire complex architecture is glued together visually in one brilliantly simple window.
All right, let's get into some practical takeaways you can use the second you log in. Step 1, type ~chat and get familiar with that gump. Step 2, I cannot stress this enough. Set your friends list early.
Why early, though? Why not just wait until I actually need to find someone?
Because a friends list is most useful when it's been growing for weeks. It tracks who is online and available as you play. If you wait until you urgently need a group, it's way too late. And step 3, use that ~r command liberally. Once you stop retyping names, you'll never want to go back.
And please, I want to completely reframe how we think about blocking players. Don't be afraid to use bracket mute.
See, I always hesitate with that stuff. It feels like I'm escalating a situation or being overly hostile.
It is not a hostile act at all. It is simply attention management. The system actively trusts you to manage your own attention without requiring some formal server-wide social moderation. It's your game experience. Curate it.
For group coordination, these 2 tactics will absolutely change how you play. First, bypass clunky public speech by spinning up custom channels for small, temporary groups. 3 players running an expedition definitely don't need a whole guild, they just need a shared channel name.
And for the bigger stuff, I just let the game do the work?
Exactly. Tactic 2, trust the zone auto-join. When you ride into a city or dive into a dungeon, let the automated zone system connect you with the locals.
Ultimately, it all comes down to one core design philosophy. Strong in-game chat keeps the social action in the game.
Which makes total sense, because these days it feels like half of an MMO happens on a separate monitor in Discord.
Right. And Discord is fantastic for asynchronous planning, like figuring out when to log on. But a responsive, modernized in-game chat is what keeps the in-the-moment roleplay alive. It keeps the world feeling vibrant and populated while you are actually standing in it. So, I leave you with a question. Will you keep relying on external apps to talk to your group, or are you ready to keep the real social action alive directly inside Immortal Realm?
The tools are right there at your fingertips, completely modernizing a classic experience. Challenge yourself to actually utilize these powerful chat layers on your next adventure. Thank you for joining us for this explainer, and we will see you in the realm.